Welcome back. So I'm going to answer another question from your questions in the comment section. This one is from Belinda. Another question from Belinda. You're asking great questions. What can I do? So this is the second question of Belinda's that I'm going to answer, because I think it's a great question. I think a lot of people will benefit from this. It's about, how do you lose weight? How do you shed weight? Why is it so difficult to shed weight? It's the same as, I'm so happy to be able to answer this question, because I know that I've struggled with this, and I know that, it's so key. If you just understand this, it solves everything. Why it's so difficult to lose weight is the same thing as any significant change. It's the same thing, same as why it's so difficult to quit a bad habit. It's anything that we're stuck in, any pattern that we're stuck in is solved in the same way. Now, specifically for weight loss, we have a self-image. We have a comfort zone in terms of how we see ourselves. We have an idea of who we are, which includes our body shape. If you are to change your body shape, your subconscious mind, which is like a thermostat, you know how our bodily temperature regulates itself. If you walk into a cold environment, you'll have the same bodily temperature. If you walk into a hot environment, you'll still have the same bodily temperature. Your body adapts to whatever the climate is so that you can maintain the same temperature regardless of what's going on outside of you. It's the same thing with your weight and a bunch of other things in life, but let's focus on the weight. It's the same thing with the weight. When you shift, it sets off the system that we got to go back. You've changed from what the normal setting is. Let's say your weight is, we use kilos in most of the world, but I think you may or may not be American, and so it will be pounds. But let's say, actually, let's not use units. Let's just say this is your standard weight. This is what you're used to. And let's say you want to go here, okay? This is the level you're at. This is where you want to go. Any shift from here is going to set off the system, and the system is going to work overtime, get you back up here. That's why diets don't work. Because it's not about simply what you eat. It's about what your idea of yourself is. This is who I am. If I go here, something is wrong, because that's not me. This is me. This is me. That also goes for money, by the way. It goes for a lot of things. Okay? Any habits, this is how it works. So whenever you go down here, you feel uncomfortable. It doesn't feel right. Feel like something is off. That's why you can come down here temporarily. Yes. And then what happens? You go back up here. Pretty quick, right? Really easily, you'll come back to what your normal standard is, because that's where your thermostat, your body weight setting is. In order to change that, here's what you do. You create a new you. You changed who you are. You say, this is what I used to be. This was my identity. It's like moving homes, okay? This is the house you're used to. This is the house you want to move into. The change is uncomfortable, yes. But then when you move into the new house, this is your new normal, okay? So you're here, you say, this is my new house. Mentally. Mentally, I'm now here. This is my new self-identity. I see myself as a person with the figure that I want, with the body that I want. I identify with that to the point where anything outside of that feels unnatural and uncomfortable. You need to no longer relate to this. You want to relate to here. Whenever people talk about this, that's not you anymore. It doesn't apply to you. You are now this. You changed how you see yourself. That means you think of yourself in a different way. You feel yourself in a different way. You relate to yourself in a different way. You identify with something new. You identify with something new. When you decide this is me regardless of circumstances, and you gotta be that person regardless of whether your body agrees or not. That's the main challenge. When you can remain in this identity and say, this is me, even though your body is up here. If your body is up here, but you are not mentally here, if you can truly commit to this, even though your body wants to stay here, then that's when it shifts. What's not going to shift is when you want to move here, your body's here, and you say, oh, it's not working, because you're looking at the outside circumstances. You want to say, regardless of whether my body changes or not, I now identify as the person who is the weight that I want. I now mentally am there. Mentally I'm there, even though my body isn't there. Mentally I'm there. That's when the body will catch up with you. And then the weight loss will come effortlessly. Just like whenever you lose it before and it will come back effortlessly without any problem, you would just get back to what was the normal weight. That's how it's going to be. You'll come down there effortlessly. That's why some people, no matter what they eat, they can maintain a good figure. They can remain slim. That's their self-image. It's their self-image. Whereas some people, even though they're like stressing about everything they eat, they can't lose the weight. Also because they believe that anything that I eat will add to this problem and it becomes a problem. But I'm sure we all know people that can eat anything and it just doesn't affect them. Or they have, maybe they don't eat anything, but they're not stressed about the food, or they don't fluctuate so much. They just have a self-image of, I'm happy with my body, have a great body, and then they maintain that. Now, that's how to shift it. One little bonus thing to keep in mind is that how we nurture ourselves, it's not just the food, it's also about, it's emotional. As you said, it said something about shedding the weight, or shedding an emotional, something emotional. Our body is just an extension of, it's a part of who we are. So it's also about, how do I view myself? How do I treat myself? How do I love myself? How much space do I want to take up? The body is a reflection of so many things. I remember I was very underweight for very, very, very long. And I was malnourished food-wise, and I was malnourished emotionally as well. I had difficulties acknowledging my emotional needs as well as my physical needs of food and nourishments. So it's also about, how do I treat myself? Do I give myself what I need? Do I give myself healthy, nutritious food? Do I have healthy, nutritious emotional support? What kind of emotional support do I have? Do I have, sometimes, as you touched on, we have excess weight to protect ourselves from the emotional intrusions of other people. When we have people that are toxic, that are too close to us, we want to distance ourselves from them. Okay? We do that by carrying excess weight. And we also hold on to emotional pains sometimes by holding on to this excess weight. Now, you can't say that, you can only know for yourself what the case is for you. You can't look at someone else and say, oh, it must be such and such for them, because we don't know all the circumstances. We don't know what their whole situation is. But we can identify things within ourselves. So it's worth reflecting on not just the weight transformation, going from this to this, but it's also about going from some emotional habits, emotional nurturing habits, to new, healthier, nurturing habits. And really looking into, what do I need? What is the emotional support I need? What is the emotional nurturing that I need? Am I giving myself what I need? Because I also find that food is also like a symbol for the emotional support, emotional need. And am I getting a lot of empty calories in terms of my relationships? Or am I getting true nurturing? Am I getting nutritious? Do I have nutritious relationships that are healthy for me, that are truly strengthening for me? Or do I have junk food in my relationships? People that are close, but they're not good for me. They're available, but they're not good for me. Are they a burden, or are they strengthening me? Are they good for me? It's just worth reflecting on when it comes to weight. But again, when we go from here to there, we need to change how we see ourselves. We need to change how we identify. We need to change who we decide that we are. That goes for any major change. We got to change who we are. If you want to quit a bad habit or an addiction, you want to change how you see yourself. You need to become a new person and own that version of you regardless of circumstances. Circumstances will change when you commit to this without any expectation of change. When you do it unconditionally. When you say, I will change how I see myself regardless of whether the circumstances change or not. When I made a financial shift, I decided I will make this shift of how I see myself regardless if the money is there or not. Even if the money is going out, there's no money to back it up. This is now the new me. I am now this worthy person. I will now live like this worthy person. I will now treat myself like this worthy person, whether the money is there or not. And that goes for a lot of things. I hope this was helpful. Much love. Who can't relate to this, right? Who hasn't? I mean, if you're a female, if you're a woman. I mean, I grew up in the time when size 0 was a thing. Now, that was, I don't know. I feel like there's so many trends that are like straight up abusive to women. That was one of those straight up abusive trends where starving yourself was expected and it was the norm and it was considered high status. Crazy things we do. Okay, thank you. Now I have some details in the description box about the masterclass called Limitless, where we will be working on changing ingrained patterns that have been ruining certainly aspects of your life that felt like you were just doomed to these habits, maybe generationally, maybe family patterns, maybe addictions, anything that you feel like you've been stuck in. We're going to be looking at how do we shift this once and for all? How do we shift a generational issue once and for all? How do we access the settings in us that keeps these things happening and change it so that we can actually achieve the results that we want? It's an inner job. It's an inner work. It doesn't happen by changing external things. I'm sure you've tried that. You've tried external things. It didn't work. It must happen through changing ourselves, changing the inner patterns, changing in the subconscious mind. So if you have things that you felt trapped in and you were ready for a change, join the masterclass. It's really affordable, and it's a way to get yourself out of an unwanted pattern into whatever pattern that you choose. We're doing it in August. It'll be live, and if you're not there live, we have replays available as well. I'll be there to answer all of your questions. I'll explain the process. I'll explain what happens in us, how to shift these things, and we usually have a lot of fun. It'll be fun. I look forward to it because it's always fun. I look forward to it also because I love making, giving people the tools to change. It's been so useful for me. I feel like this knowledge saved me, and I want to help more people. If this is you, if you feel like you've been trapped in a pattern that you don't like, that's been harmful to you, I so look forward to seeing you there with my whole heart. I hope to be helpful and useful to you. I'm hoping to give you the tools so that you know that freedom is available. I'm hoping to see you in August. The information is in the description box. And if you have more questions, ask them in the comment section. I'll be happy to answer them.